Hi everybody, Dan Stolebarger. Welcome to this week's KFIR Middle East Update, the week of July 26th. Every week I usually have a musing section, and this week as I was thinking, I was reading our KFIR Psalms project. I had Psalm 148, and it was about praising God and praising the Lord, and I started thinking, in my life, what did that really look like? I'm going to just encourage you to read the musing. I want to encourage you, if you're not already, to be a part of our KFIR community. We do a psalm a day. We call it our Psalms Project. We have different people comment on them. And then we have a weekly Bible study, which right now I'll talk about at the very end. We're going through the book of Zechariah. It's a video that we do on YouTube. It's a half an hour long. And we also have a weekly Bible reading schedule with two other books of the Bible. We're currently just finishing the book of John, and we'll start Matthew this week. And we're just into about the halfway point of Joshua. So again, if this is something that's supplemental and helpful for your, in a sense, spiritual hygiene, join us. All right, so again, my musings, Psalm 148. Enough of the commercial. Oh, one other thing. Go to our website, holygroundexplorations.com, in order to access the PowerPoint that accompanies this YouTube. Very important. There's much more information there, photos, etc. Okay, our news bites for this week. Big question. This so-called squad, headed up by Omar Elhan and Talib, Rashida Talib, they're heading to Israel, or at least they thought they were. And, Netanyahu said, not so fast. He has the right to deny them entrance, but Israel will allow these controversial U.S. congresswomen to come into Israel. With all of that in mind, the things that's swirling, we'll talk a little bit more about the vote in Congress on BDS, but Congresswoman, Ilhan Omar, she has compared the BDS, the anti-Israel resolution she's sponsoring, to boycotting of Nazi Germany and communist Russia. Okay? Israel compared to Nazi Germany and communist Russia, the rationale behind supporting the BDS. Unbelievable. Okay, we'll get to that other article as we march through today. Let's take a look at the threats to Israel, the Iranian military threats in mind. Straits of Hormuz, we know that there was a British tanker that was confiscated by the Iranians, and with all of this that's going on, the U.S. is sending to Saudi Arabia jet fighters, missiles, and hundreds of troops. We'll just have to keep our eye and see what's going to take place next. It's official, by the way. A new subject. Benjamin Netanyahu has now passed David Ben-Gurion as Israel's longest serving prime minister. So that's our sort of news bites, 5 or 6 different articles that you'll read more of if you get that PDF PowerPoint. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the north. Hezbollah's threatening war again. Hezbollah's commander has told the Daily Beast that because of the sanctions from the U.S. to Iran, it's impacting Hezbollah. In a sense, they're having a financial impact, dramatic financial impact on this terror group. He insists that the morale is high, and he goes just by the name Samir. And he reportedly told the Daily Beast in an interview that as soon as Iran gives Hezbollah the green light, they will attack Israel. And so the whole north border between Lebanon and Syria is on high alert. Hamas, little Hamas, the Gaza, Last week we reported that they were unable to make their way to Iran. Well, they've ended up getting there. So Hamas had their meeting with Iran. And the TV report on Monday says that the Ayatollah held talks with the leadership of Hamas. He goes on to issue the statement saying that you need to be aware of the U.S. peace proposal. It's a dangerous plot intended to destroy Palestinian identity simply by paying them off. It's about a cash deal. He then goes on, I find it interesting, to say that the main point of Hamas is that they need to continue to resist, not allow Israel to eliminate the Palestinian identity. And then he made this comment. He goes, several years ago, you just had rocks. Now you have precision rockets. So, once again, Hamas, Iranian proxy. And this is, I don't have the time to go into it, but it's staggering to see the marriage between Shiite and Sunni. Okay, the BDS, as I mentioned, voted down 398 to 17. The House overwhelmingly condemned the boycott, divestment, and sanctioned the BDS. This is going to cause more deep divisions within the Democrats. I found a comment quite amusing that, it was 398 to 17, right? So Republican Rashida Tlaib, however, claimed on Wednesday that some of her Democratic colleagues just didn't understand what the vote was about. They don't understand much about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and didn't necessarily understand the anti-BDS resolution that was passed. So in other words, she said, so many of them voted not even knowing what they were voting for or against. Boy, isn't that comforting. All right. Alternative view, a couple other things, and we'll call it a week. Lori Cardoso Moore, leading evangelical ministry. Alternative view. We talked about Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib visiting Israel. Of course, we know their statements about Israel. They're seeking the absolute destruction of the state of Israel. And they want to go visit. And so, it was Bibi that said not so fast, but again, they've made agreements that they can come. However, this Lori Cardoso Moore has an alternative view. She says if Omar wants to visit her Hamas friends in Gaza, why doesn't she just use the terror tunnels from Egypt? She can then witness firsthand the impact of her fundraising efforts and report back to her constituents about the successful campaign. There's really no need for these two to make their way through Tel Aviv. I'll let that one lie. Politics in Israel, upcoming election. You can read the article about the former Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked. She's assumed the leadership of the New Right Party on last Sunday, replacing Naftali Bennett. We know that this party didn't get enough votes for seating on the last election. With her as the top dog, in a sense, many believe that this group will be the so-called kingmakers. And again, they are consolidating not center-right, but the right. So worth keeping our eye on as well. As I mentioned, our Psalms Project, I mentioned our Bible study, Zechariah. This week begins a 3-month period of time. It's the Hebrew month of Tammuz, and it goes through the 9th of Av, the 9th day of Av. And it's when the Jewish people observe a period known as a time of mourning for the destruction of the temple, the destruction of Jerusalem. And it just so happens that this week's KFIR Bible study covers Zechariah chapter 7, which speaks of these feasts and fasting days and mourning. So I encourage you to check out our Bible study this week, YouTube channel, Dan Stolebarger. Okay, that's our report for this week. God bless you. Remember, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. God bless you all.